Hey, bro. Um, you all right? Bro, you all right for real? Cause like I'm hearing stuff. Sound like somebody just body slammed you. You all right?
Yeah, I'm alright, bro.
Okay.
It's a little Monday morning acrobatics. I got to get myself loose right here.
Oh Lord. Um, we ain't talking about getting loose. All right, then. Yeah. Uh, so did you make the 18 calls that you got to make yesterday and wish all of them a happy Mother's Day? Did you make the 18 calls you had to make yesterday and wish them all happy Mother's Day?
Um, well, 18 only accounts for the ones that we didn't go to the clinic for. But yes, I was able to get all my calls in yesterday. You only had to make two. How did it work out for you?
I made one and I went to see the other one. So
Oh, okay. Well, that is then.
I went to see my mom, and well, I didn't have to call my wife because I woke up next to her. So it was.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
It was
You're
a good
much more
day.
efficient at this. You're much more efficient at this thing than I am, bro. I have to give you credit.
It's called marriage, bro.
Oh, okay.
It's called marriage. You could do it too.
I'm cool.
We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, batten down the hatches. We'd like to introduce you to the greatest combat sports show bar none. You are now in the beatdown.
You wanna get beat down?
Let us now introduce you to your host, the Badger, and
You want to get beat down? That's what I'm talking about. Boy. Raising a right. Bro, I wouldn't cook my mom dinner yesterday, and my daughter went with me.
Okay.
It was good. I made her some. I was started out being garlic pasta with shrimp, but we had an issue with the first oil and butter. Her stove gets hotter than it says it does, so I'm like, boy, that oil kind of hot. I'm like, well, I didn't. It says I only put it on like 7 or 8,
Okay.
and I put the butter in there. You ever see butter turn dark brown? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So normally you can salvage it, and
Right.
it's still. But
You gotta be quick though.
right, and I was, but my mom looked at the pot and said, "That's burnt." So at that point, I just said, "You know what? I'm not gonna explain anything.
Well, you
It's
know,
her day." Huh?
once they smell it, bro, it's over with. So she could smell the burn.
It was the smoke.
Hey, listen, Mom, I try not to let everybody know how great you are, but when you keep making posts like that, you kind of letting the cat out the proverbial bag.
Oh boy, really, that sunshine. Good morning to you too. Talking about marriage is overrated in her opinion.
She's wonderful, by the way.
She should have tried marriage. Try it. No, never mind. No, because that would have ended up with her probably going to trial. So, yeah. But now you're calmer. You're wiser, Mom. You could, you'd probably have a better opportunity to go through selection better than natural selection. Saying, but thank you for the choices you did make, because that meant I'm here. Yes, it was worth it. Shut up, bro. She came out the bag. Something about marriage is overrated. Whew. Well, I see. That's why we didn't put her on the auction block. That's why we have you up for auction.
It's a great woman right there. Great woman.
She is. You know what? She is. She's been through a lot, and to still be able to, to have a sense of humor about it. But she was dead serious about that. I could tell by the way she typed it. There was no sense of humor in that. That was marriage is overrated. Wow. Anyways, I can't argue with her. I cannot. We got a lot to get into, man. We had a couple of things happen this weekend. Your boy Billy Joe Saunders. Just saying, he should have kept an eye on the situation. But
man.
and then after the fight, we had Boo Boo Andre show up, and Canelo just went ham on him in English. In English.
Okay.
So what'd you think of the fight, bro? Because what'd you think of the fight?
Listen, man. This is how great we are. # Watch the Pod. We both came on this show and said that we thought that Billy Joe Saunders would give Canelo a test. We both said that. But we both also backed that statement up by saying, but there's levels to this. And it seems like, Cinnamon's in a stride right now. So on top of him being in his stride and Billy Joe Saunders having, about 18 months of inactivity, it looked like the fight that we thought it was going to be. In moments, it looked competitive, and in moments, it was like, this probably ain't going to make it much further. But for what it was worth, I thought it was a decent fight. I don't want to jump too far and talk about the outcome of the decision, whether to come out of the corner or all that. We can talk about that in a second. But just about the fight, bro, what I really liked and what I enjoyed about the fight was Canelo was what you would say he was a stalker, but he was a very patient stalker. Almost kind of like when they talk about the mountain lions, how they just will walk and stalk their prey for miles before you even know you're being followed. It's kind of like that, bro. He just was waiting because when the fight started, bro, he was able to get Joe Saunders. He was
Certain bears do that too.
Oh yeah. He was able to pull Canelo's hands. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders' hands. And what I mean by that was a quick foot feint, that head feint. And Billy Joe react. You see, that's very important. People don't understand the importance of a jab and feinting, bro. Those two things will do so much for you. But nonetheless, so I was able to see from the beginning, Billy Joe respected Canelo. Bro, he had moments, but Canelo's just a much better fighter. That uppercut, that uppercut, that counter that he was throwing, bro, was so scary, bro. He was throwing it so hard and so fast. I know that Billy Joe Saunders was doing his best to stay away from that punch. But when you're fighting behind, when somebody's going to dictate your movements with feints, when I can turn my jab into a check hook because I know you're trying to roll out to the right, you throw your little jab. When I'm able to see what you're doing before you do it, it makes you a very nervous fighter. It makes you a very sketchy fighter. It makes you a very tight fighter. And that's what we saw most of that night with Billy Joe. He had moments where he was able to get a little something going, but for the most part, he was reacting. He was defensive. Bro, that's the Canelo effect. It was a good fight, but Canelo's just levels ahead, bro. Levels.
It's rare that you'll see a southpaw not have the advantage in a championship fight. Usually when they get to that level, you'll see a southpaw at least have the advantage in the beginning. Yeah. And then the conventional fighter at that level, makes adjustments. But I said this last week, # Watch the Pod. You can't let Canelo get out and get a lead. It's too much to have to come back. And he can rest while you come back, or he can pick his shots while you try to mount a comeback. And then by the time you feel like, okay, I'm back in the fight, he's already figured you out. And now he's plotting and landing those shots. And he was able to cut off the ring a lot more than they gave him credit for.
Yes, very good job.
And Billy Joe Saunders never looked comfortable.
No.
He never looked like he found a spot where, okay, I'm in my groove now, I know I can run the rest of these rounds like this. He never, he never looked comfortable, bro. The announcers were giving him, a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but there was nothing he really could do. I mean, Canelo had that thing, like you said, the Canelo effect. Canelo was never really looked like he was in jeopardy of losing anything. Even though some people gave rounds to Saunders that I'm kind of questioning, but it doesn't matter. Canelo said he was going to stop him between 7 and 9, and he stopped him at 8. I mean, it was just the fact that he knew he didn't worry about Saunders' power. He could stand there in the pocket and just tee off on you to the body. He rarely threw a jab past round 2. It was like, what is going on? He just came in thundering, man.
Let me ask you a question, because I was trying to figure this out. Did Billy Joe look bigger than Canelo?
No.
He didn't?
No, he did not. Canelo looked much thicker. Billy Joe was a little taller. But Billy Joe was fighting down to Canelo's height. But then again, he didn't have much of a reach advantage either.
No, the reason why I asked is because I'm trying to figure out how this guy just seems to have just really natural punching power. Even at 175, he was able to hurt Kovalev, although we know that wasn't the same Kovalev, and it was a weight drain Kovalev, and it was shot one Kovalev, and all that.
We kept saying that, but we never accounted for what Canelo brought to the Kovalev fight.
Right, that's what I'm about to get to now. And then we see him a few months back against Murray or Liam
Williams.
Smith. I'm butchering it. Okay, Liam Smith. One of the Smith brothers. You know who I'm talking about. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, keep going.
Bro, and he's hitting this guy, and the shots are just sounding like it's a different sound. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not even a thud. It's almost like just a blunting sound, right?
It's like his gloves are mic'd up.
Yeah, and I saw the same thing Saturday night. Those punches, bro. Boom. I mean, it just looks so. Everything is. Bro, he was hitting him so hard. Even the shots that Billy Joe was catching on the gloves. Psychologically, bro, you feel that power, you feel that force. You may not feel the effect of the punch because you're catching it, but when he's hitting you and he's moving your entire torso, twerking your body because you're trying to catch it and roll with it, but it's just coming way harder than you expect. That has to wear on your psyche as a fighter too. And listen, Billy Joe Saunders was an undefeated man. He was a powerful man. He was a current champion, a defending champ.
You have to be in some sort of pain to just sit there in your corner and let that go.
It just hits different.
Well,
I mean, and I mean that in the literal sense and the way the kids said it. Canelo just hitting it. It's just different out there, bro. Even when Billy Joe caught him with 1 or 2 good shots, bro, it was almost like.
Listen.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna.
You in the face with some water? What was that?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest, and I'm gonna go back what I said over a month ago. Billy Joe Saunders, beyond the record and the title, he had no business being in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. And I know you say, how can you say that? He was undefeated. He's a world champion. Now was a world champion. It just, Canelo, like you said, was just on another level than Billy Joe Saunders. It was like Canelo's been in the wars in Mexico. He's been in the wars over here. And I know I'm going to get some flack when I say this. Saunders ain't have to fight nobody like Canelo ever until Saturday night. Ever. You could tell by the way, you could tell by when he was in there, man. Just the look on his face is like, I can't do anything with him. All I can do is, try to get some shots in and stay away, and hopefully I'm getting points. Now it's the middle of the fight. Hopefully I'm getting points, but I can't let him get a clean shot. He was getting down so low when Canelo was hitting him with that uppercut. It looked like he was trying to shoot in on Canelo's leg. That's how low he was dipping. But if you look and see what happened, he dipped over his knee.
Yeah.
What did they teach you in the fundamentals of boxing?
Keep your head over your toes.
Thank you. That meant you're bending only at your waist and you're squatting. Mm-hmm. You don't squat like that. I mean, if you're gonna bend that low, you start at the knee, and like you said, you keep it over your toes and you can move. Yeah. When Canelo hit him with that uppercut, it didn't look flush. He was, and he could not roll with that shot. That shot moved him.
Well, so I'm gonna look. We can Monday morning quarterback this, bro, and we're both right. Like I feel like the outcome will justify what we would have speculated. But bro, I don't want to take anything away from how good Canelo is because listen, name one other fighter in the world that you would have put in the ring with Billy Joe Saunders and you thought he'd get dominated like that. There isn't one. And that's the problem, bro. He's just that good. Billy Joe Saunders against anybody else at 68 or 60, which is where he needs to go back to. Anybody in those two weight classes, bro, we would not say would make Billy Joe Saunders look like that.
Not exactly like that. But I say the one person that he would suffer another loss against, honestly, I believe would be Jamal Charlo. Because of the power and the movement of Jamal. But yeah, he wouldn't look like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, listen, there's some guys that would probably beat Billy Joe. There's some guys that, yeah, okay, maybe. But all those are going to be good, close fights. This was not. So people that didn't know what they were looking at, this looked closer than it was. It really wasn't that close.
No.
He had moments, bro. He had moments in rounds. I only gave him 2 rounds. The first round, I think I gave him the 4th or the 5th, one of them.
I didn't give him the first at all.
He didn't do anything, bro.
Look, there's something we don't talk about when it comes to fighting Canelo that you cannot overlook. There's a mystique. There's an aura. Especially when you fight him on Cinco de Mayo weekend, the whole week is Canelo. It doesn't matter who you are.
73,000 fans. We'll talk about it later. Go ahead.
Exactly, and that it kind of folds into what I'm saying. You've got people who wait all year to come see a Canelo Alvarez fight. They don't care if you're coming in with an extra arm. They still look at it like, you're going to lose. You're fighting Canelo. I mean, everything Canelo does in the ring, it's an explosion from the fans. When Ricky Hatton came over and fought Floyd Mayweather, Ricky had the advantage because there were more British fans than American fans. And the American fans that were there and didn't necessarily want to see Floyd win. When Tyson Fury came over and fought Deontay Wilder the second time, you had more British fans there.
It was close.
Or Tyson Fury fans.
Yeah, it was. It shouldn't have been close, is what your point being. But
right. But when Billy Joe Saunders comes over to Texas to fight Canelo Alvarez, you could count the British fans that got into that one.
All in Billy Joe Saunders' corner.
Exactly. It was like you are going into his living room to fight him. You're at a disadvantage. You have to be so mentally tough to deal with the weak. And it's not just talking trash, because he talked trash. It's being really ready to go mentally. It almost looked like he had scared energy when he was walking into AT&T Stadium. I didn't say the man was afraid, but there is something called scared energy. It's
Nervous
like
energy. Yeah.
It's an unknown. It's like what am I getting into? Am I really ready for this? You know, what is this man really going to be able to do to me? Because you hear about this. I don't care if you sparred with people who sparred with him or fought him. Until you feel it, until you're in the midst of it, you don't know. And then by the time you find out, sometimes it can be overwhelming. And I think that's what happened in part to Billy Joe Saunders. And then he realized, this man hits hard.
So now that we already done slow walked into that, bro, now that we basically said that Canelo was classes above Billy Joe Saunders here, now let's talk about the outcome. So he gets hit with a punch with I'm saying that, I'm taking it lightly. He gets clocked. He gets hit pretty hard. And immediately, at least I noticed it, because one moment his face looked fine, the next moment he's got this big purple thing on the side of his face. He goes to the corner.
You froze, bro. Bro, you still there? All right, we'll keep going until you come back. Yes, he got hit. Immediately, we see the damage under the eye. He circles and circles and circles and backs up and backs up. He does everything he can to pretty much stay away from Canelo Alvarez until he can get to the corner. Now, when you get to the corner, I think that's where you were going to at that point. What happens? What happens? Does your corner look at you and say, "Are you all right?" I know that I think they had the doctor come look. I'm not sure, but you tell the corner that you can't see or you can't come back out. Canelo goes to his corner and says, "I broke his cheek. He's not coming out." That's an interesting scenario because Canelo knew he had him. He knew he had him after he landed that shot. I don't know why Canelo didn't immediately come in with another shot. It looked like he was admiring his work. And in other situations, that can get you beat. That can get you beaten. But fortunately for Canelo, it didn't get him beaten. Canelo was able to stalk him for the rest of the round, and Billy Joe Saunders just didn't answer the bell. Didn't look visibly upset when his corner said, "Okay, he's not coming out." It looked like he was like, "Whew." Look, it happens. Nobody's saying that, you can't take it away. The man was undefeated up to that point. But the reality that you cannot come out and answer the bell at that point, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. That really is. And hats off to Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, you made a big fuss over it. You got paid. I don't think you're getting another shot at Canelo, to be honest with you. You lost your belt. Canelo now holds all but one belt, and that's Caleb Plant's belt. And that's who he said he wants next. All right, you're back, bro. You froze when you said Canelo lands the punch.
Yeah, boy, I really dislike. I really dislike Spectrum. Anyway, so he gets hit with a punch, bro, and immediately the eye turns colors, right? You kind of see it, real time. Well, at the same time that it happens, my TV starts to buffer, like what must just happened right here. And when it comes back to the fight's over, I'm thinking, well, dang, I know I didn't miss a whole round. It couldn't have happened that quick. He quit on the stool, bro. Me, and I think we're going to differ here in opinion. I'm going to say this. That was the smartest thing Billy Joe Saunders could have done that night, bro.
Your Spectrum caused you not to hear what I said. I kind of kept going when Spectrum took you out the game. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and when I looked at Billy Joe Saunders' face when the corner said it's over, Billy Joe Saunders didn't dispute it at all. He was like, now I can go see what's wrong with this eye. Because he said he couldn't see. Mm-hmm. Canelo came back to his corner and told Eddie Reynoso, "I broke his cheek. He won't answer. He won't answer the bell."
Oh, so that was a sign. That was the same time, like real time thing.
Yeah.
Going on. I heard somebody say, but I was like, "Oh, I missed that part, obviously." But
no, that was a real time thing. Yeah.
Oh.
And
wow.
We don't know if he broke his cheek. We don't know if it was the orbital bone got injured when he hit that cheekbone. I saw a doctor talking about it on Sunday morning on YouTube, but I didn't hear the official results.
From what I read, I think it's fractured in 3 places.
Okay.
I think that's what I saw someone post or tweet.
So I wonder if it scratched his cornea a little bit because he looked like he was in a lot of pain and he kept, trying to keep his eye closed. I don't know. All I know is I couldn't understand why when Canelo hit him, he admired his work. He didn't follow up, like come in with you caught him with an uppercut. He could have come down with a left hook and, probably wouldn't have gone to the corner.
How soon was that before the bell? I want to say I think it happened right before the bell, didn't it?
About a minute, about 30 seconds to a minute, okay. 45 seconds to a minute. Because
he had time.
Canelo kind of admired his work, and then Billy Joe Saunders ran the rest of the round. Yeah. He knew something was wrong. He knew something, and you could see his eyes, like Steve Harvey said, Lord. It was just, you could see it. It didn't swell, but it got real dark right under here, got real dark.
Yeah.
So a blind man in Florida saw it from Texas. But it was you know, I didn't question it. I didn't question it. When he couldn't answer the bell, you could see Canelo looking at Eddie Reynoso, and Eddie Reynoso came in and picked him up. It was like, I told you. And he said it when he went back to the corner. He said, I broke his cheek. He will not answer the bell. And he didn't answer the bell either.
Okay, so with all that being said, what is next for Canelo, bro? I think this will lead right into what you were getting at earlier, and I think this involves
Caleb Plant.
Demetrius Boo Andrade.
I don't think it will be. I don't think Andre is going to get the fight because Canelo told him, "Get you out of here! Get you out of here! You just." Yeah,
so give us a little backstory on what happened there, bro. For those of you that don't know,
Andre came into the press conference and asked him, "Can I finally get a shot at you? Can I finally get my match with you? Can you know?" And he said it really, really calm and really respectful. Canelo went ham. Canelo went ham. Here's the one person Canelo didn't want to see after that fight. Because Canelo made the statement in the ring, you know, when they said there's only one belt left, and that's Caleb Plant's.
right?
And Canelo was like, I hope he can make the fight. I hope he can. He said that in English. He said that real clear. I love Canelo because he can understand what you're saying to him perfectly. But I think it's because of the Mexican people. He chooses to respond in his native language more than not.
I'm gonna say them. I want you to keep going where you're going because I like the train that you're on right now. But I just want to say this: when you're rich, when you're wealthy, like Canelo is, you speak very good English. He didn't just learn that last night, bro. Canelo's been speaking English for a while, but like you said, now was the right time to break that language barrier because of the fight we got coming up next. But go ahead, keep going.
And look, he spoke okay English in the ring at the end, but he spoke perfect English to Demetrius Andrade. Perfect English. Get the F out of here. He said it clearly. And he said it like he was a black man. I'm like, Canelo. I can't wait for him to say, and give me my chicken and biscuits. It's just the way listen.
You gotta relax, bro.
Canelo, I think is a brilliant marketing strategy because whether you agree with it or not, he wants the Mexican people to identify with him, to be with him, and he speaks to them. Everybody else, I have an interpreter for you. But I want my Mexican people to understand I am Mexican, even though I have red hair on my face and on my head, and I look like I'm from Germany or Ireland. But I am Mexican, and I want you to know, so at every chance I get, I'm speaking to you in our native language.
Facts. And I can appreciate that. And I think everyone should do that.
So we don't have a native language anymore. Go ahead.
But bro, you touched on something. You said it's a great marketing strategy. I'm convinced Canelo's probably very fluent in English, and if he's not, he
speaks money.
In the next few weeks. Yeah, he will be in the next few weeks because what I heard him say in the press conference leading up to the fight, after the fight, and then the interviews, not just in the ring, but in the interviews after the fight, bro, his English is good enough. It's good enough. It'll do. I'm excited. I feel bad for Demetrius Andrade because and this is where being a showman or having a entertaining style, this is where this comes into play. Because we know what kind of boxer Demetrius Andrade is, but he's not the kind that's going to sell out tickets. Had any real names on his resume. His last 3 fights have been pretty much snooze fest. But we know how good he is. But because of that, he won't get a Canelo Alvarez fight. Because after Canelo Alvarez fights Caleb Plant, if he wins that belt, then he's going to start cherry picking guys that's going to just put butts in seats. Then you're going to see him. Maybe he'll fight a Charlo. Maybe he'll fight a Benavides. Maybe he'll go up and fight a Bilbao or a Benavides. But he's going to be able to kind of pick and choose because at this point, it's not about legacy because that's already established. I'm a 2, 3, 4 weight division champ, unified, undisputed 168-pound champ, the first in history. So yeah, as far as legacy goes, that's over with. And that's where Demetrius Andre will miss out, because at that point, if he beats Caleb Plant, every fight from there on will be, how much money can I make? And he's earned the right to do that.
And
Just
he's only
like Floyd
30,
Mayweather did.
bro. He's only 30.
He's
He was
only-
younger
he's
than
too
Billy
young,
Joe
bro.
Saunders. He was,
I'm saying, bro. So I don't, unless Demetrius Andre does something extraordinary, like take a cut or take what you don't want to take and fight Charlo or fight Bivol or fight somebody that's going to get you some attention at 175 to make Canelo say, But when you're fighting Luke Keeler and Mulak Selecki in the freight of 154-pounder, when you fighting the guy he just fought his last fight and you're going the distance, you don't give yourself any entertainment value, bro. Unfortunately for him, he'll probably end up being the odd man out where everybody else gets a crack at Canelo. He probably won't, bro.
two schools of thought on that. You're right. Two schools of thought. One, you can change, try to become more charismatic, which is not you. Try to go out and knock people out, which is not you. Or you can just recognize it for what it is and recognize and be content within yourself that I'm not someone he really wants to fight because of my skill, because of my ability. Not just because he's not going to make, because he's going to make a lot of money on any fight because people are going to pay to see Canelo.
See him, right.
Right. So you need to look at it for what it is, Demetrius, and say, okay, he's just not going to fight me because I'm just not a good matchup for him. And be content with that, because you haven't put yourself in a position where you're bringing any hardware to the table.
Right.
Or any controversy. Like Billy Joe Saunders is controversy. Plus he had a belt and he had an O.
Right.
So Canelo was able to take that O and that belt.
And the belt, yeah.
And he has a contingent with Eddie Hearn, from England that was going to watch and travel.
Bro, think about this part. Check this out. Nah, you probably didn't pay attention to this. I saw the press conference, and I don't know who should I give this credit to. I don't know if it was Fight Hub or ES News, but whichever one it was, respect. Bro, I thought, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Eddie Hearn Demetrius Andre's promoter?
It was on ES News.
Okay. He is Demetrius Andre's promoter, right?
To my understanding, yes, but he didn't really want to talk about that.
Hold on. It says a lot about your perceived value. When your manager, the guy that works for you, a guy that you hired, you chose, is sitting next to the man that you want to fight and is allowing everyone in the room to make a mockery of you, bro, that is interesting to me. Because Eddie Hearn has the proverbial opportunity to eat twice. Because he is Demetrius Andre's manager and he does a promoter and he does work for the Zone.
Eddie Hearn, as goofy as he acts sometimes, understands money. He understands the trail of money. He understands how to get to it. And he knows he's not going to get that fight with Canelo, with Andre, anytime soon. Now, if you're talking about just sticking up for me because you work for me, I agree with you. He should, let that go. But
I agree with you in a little bit, but all I'm saying is, I can't even say that because I don't know enough about the situation. So what I'm trying to say is, if Eddie Hearn is a work for hire promoter for the Zone, who is contracted through Canelo, But you work directly for me, Demetrius Andrade. Andrade. I gotta figure out how to pronounce that man's name. I've been mixing up over the years. Andrade. That's a problem, bro. That's a problem because Canelo's decisions and what he chooses to do does not affect Eddie Hearn's bottom line because Eddie Hearn is employed by DAZN. Eddie Hearn, the entity, the manager, works directly for Demetrius Andrade. That is my problem, bro.
Well, that's how Andrade got in the fight. That's how Andrade got in that room.
For sure. But and you're right, and that's a fact too, because those rooms aren't open to the public. You're right. So he had to get clearance from Eddie Hearn, I'm pretty sure, to be in the room to, hey, here's your chance. Try to, talk your way into a fight. But man, that just looks a little weird because you should probably be caping for me to get this fight, Eddie. You should be sitting right next to Canelo saying, yeah, and Canelo has a lot of great options out there. He's got Demetrius Andrade, who's right there in the back. Oh, he also has, the people that everybody else want to see, the Benavides and the he can do all that because he would get some of that too. But I'm gonna throw my man's the lifeline first because so that's why I'm a little bit confused.
I think that's what Andrade was on the same mindset as you. And I think that's why Andrade said, you know what? I gotta speak up for myself. Now, I think if you're going to do that because you're not a loud individual, because you were trying to speak respectfully from the back of the room, forgive me, excuse me, I think he should have just made his way up front. If you're going to be a spectacle, make a spectacle. Really, I mean, you got under Canelo's skin, but he was able to still remain seated and fuss at you. And then they removed you from the room. And whoever the black guy was with Demetrius Andrade, the guy with the salt and pepper in his goatee, he made more of a scene than Demetrius.
Oh, that's his dad.
That's his dad. His dad made more of a scene than he did. I'm like, if you're gonna really do this, you should have marched up to the stage.
I see what you're saying. So if you're gonna be the heel, you got to go all the way.
Because now people are like, okay, he said something, but like I said, Canelo cussed him out and they got him out of the room. That's all that happened. Unless you were really listening, that's all that happened. If you go up to the front, people are gonna say, "Oh snap!" Somebody approaches it. Now you got time. They're gonna give you at least because they know you're a fighter. They know you have permission to be in there.
Everyone knows who you are. They see you on the screen.
They're just going to stand between you and Canelo to give you an opportunity to say what you have to say. Canelo shut you down, but Canelo would have probably had to stand up at least.
Acknowledge your presence.
Acknowledge your presence. That you're there. Okay, I know you, and you know what? You're troubling me because you're in my space. I can always say just like Klitschko did Shannon Briggs. Briggs was in the back of the room. Let's go, champ. Let's go. Klitschko had to acknowledge his presence because of his volume. Andre didn't have that volume.
Yeah.
People got quiet to listen.
Also showed up at the man's house, pulled up on the man on his boat. Shannon Briggs was doing the most, bro. But go ahead anyway.
And still didn't get the fight. So
it was funny though.
It was funny though. But Boo Boo Andre wasn't even funny. He was being serious. I would like to be your next.
You're right, bro. You're right.
So I'm like, dude, you need PR people because Eddie Hearn's not going to do anything. And if they ask him about it now, he can always say, well, he spoke up for himself. The man spoke up for himself. What you want me to do? Wrong accent.
It was. It's okay. It was.
But Eddie Hearn can say that now and get out of it. But you're right. Eddie Hearn should have been sitting there saying, that man back there is as deserving as anybody else to be your next challenger.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but they want that Caleb Plant fight. They want that other belt.
And listen, justifiably so. We both are fans of Caleb Plant. He's a friend of the show. Gave us an interview. Caleb Plant deserves the next fight. He deserves the next fight. He has the only belt that Thanos needs to complete the gauntlet. So yes, that fight has to happen next. The same reason Brian Castaño's fighting Jermell Charlo. He has the last stone. I need this to be complete. So yes, this is the next fight, and this is great for boxing. And I'm glad we're getting more of these, bro. But
if he had done what he was supposed to do I'm talking about Demetrius Andrade. He would have gotten a fight with Caleb Plant around the same time.
If he had done what he was supposed to have done, he'd already fought and beat one of the Charlos. Which would have also put his stock up. That would have also, bro. When you look at Andre's list, bro, ain't many names on that. Ain't many scalps on that poll, bro. So, I don't know. But
So
anyway,
maybe he is where he is justifiably then.
Only he gonna have to deal with that, bro. Listen, now that we wrapping up on this subject, did boxing just save the world here, or did we really just get a real super spreader, bro? 73,000 people packed in the Jersey world. Bro, it felt so good watching it from TV, but I can't help but tell you, I was scanning the crowd. This time the masks I saw in Texas is a lot like Florida, especially over the past week. You see fewer and fewer masks now. Bro, that was an electric atmosphere, though. What's your take on it?
It was a bunch of BS, but you got to look at the governors of each state. Really, yeah, it felt good to hear the fans, but I always look and I say, man, who's gonna lose a family member that decided this was worth it? That's really all I can say on it. Because people with vaccines, people who took the vaccination are still getting COVID. That's documented. People who have been vaccinated
and that's the crazy
are
part
still getting
about
COVID.
If you still get it and you got the vaccine or you don't get it, then you might as well just let it go. People should just go. Because if I take it, I'm still going to get sick supposedly, or it's not going to do what it's supposed to do, or I'm going to get sick before I get better. Bro, all this is weird to me. But yeah, so outside of that though, bro, so what's going to happen now? Because the rest of the world, listen, Vegas opens back up in June. California opens back up in June. Texas and Florida already open. New York is opening back up already. Mm-hmm. Bro, what are you going to do, man? Are you going to silo yourself in, you and the family, never coming out again, or what? What are we going to do?
I go to places where it's safe, where not a lot of people, like Walmart, Wawa.
So you in the thick of it. Oh, bro, good for you.
But I wear a mask and I have elbows. I ain't scared to push a 70-year-old to the ground if you're getting too close. I'm joking about that. I mean, they have to be at least under 60.
Though, but no, you're right though, bro. I think what people like you and I are now just more aware. Like, I don't see myself going back out without a mask, to be honest with you, bro. I just don't.
There's no reason not to.
I mean, the people that, man, everybody in the world done had masks before us, bro. That's the crazy part. But I digress. So,
we got
UFC, bro.
Let's go back.
I know we ain't got much time. I know you want to get through that.
Let's go back a little bit further. Or I guess we can deal with these. Because, look, May 6th, you had the PFL card. Professional Fight League. Very good card. Main event, Renan Ferreira defeated Fabricio Verdun. Round 1 knockout. 232. Listen, that was a good fight. By strikes, that was a good fight. I got to go to Bellator before we get to UFC. Bellator was Friday, May 7th on Showtime. Yep. 2 fights we got to talk about. Anthony Rumble Johnson defeated Jose Augusta. Round 2, KO by punches. They didn't say strikes from a boy. They said punches. If you saw the fight, you understood what they're saying. Punches. A minute 30 into round 2. And Sergio Pettis, the younger brother of Anthony Showtime Pettis, defeated the champion Juan Archuleta. Man, it was interesting. I wouldn't have given it 50-45, but it was a unanimous decision, 50-45, 49-46, 49-46. Thought it was a little bit closer than that, a lot closer than that, actually. I may have gone 48-47, either way. But Sergio Pettis leaves the champion in Bellator on Friday, which is going to be interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, the only fight I really cared about in that card was Rumble Johnson. Bro, let me tell you something. Rumble, yeah, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem.
I thought...
One thing he's always had was extremely quick and heavy hands, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He could always knock you out at any given... I mean, he's a legitimate knockout artist if there is such a thing in MMA. He's always had the ability to put people out, bro, so... He's lost a lot of weight gradually. He's smoking a whole lot of weed. Bro, I like what I'm seeing from Rumble, man. I like it.
Anyways, he looked slower than Augusta in the first round. I thought Augusta had a chance. I really thought Augusta had a chance to beat him watching that first round. He didn't look as good in all of round one. Usually when somebody gets a knockout like that, they start coming on at the end of the round before. He didn't. Round two, he came out. He still looked kind of slow. But when that right hand opened up and he hit him, it shocked me and everybody else. Except for you. But yeah, I say shout out to Rumble Johnson on that one. Look, UFC card, May 8th, Saturday. Oh, it was an interesting card. Very interesting.
I'm so hurt, bro. I'm so hurt. Go ahead.
Neil Magny got Jeff Neal, though.
Bro, don't do me like that, bro. Listen, first of all, I'm going to let everybody know I'm a Neil Magny fan.
Yeah?
But I am confused as to what we're seeing right here, bro. And this is no shade. This is no disrespect to Neil Magny. But, bro, there was a point in time where we were talking about Jeff Neal as if, hey, this dude he's finna be a problem, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's finna get to the top of his division. He's gonna be somebody you got to worry about. And now he's been beaten twice. Bro, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson may have taken his confidence because that, to me, what we saw on Saturday, bro.
That was not Jeff Neal.
I don't know what's happening right now. But with that being said, shout out Neil Magny, man. All my Zoes out there, man. Listen, keep doing your thing, man. Neil Magny is the guy that you got to go through if you want to fight the best in that division. You got to go through him, and he shows up. Every fight, Neil Magny shows up. So shout out to Neil Magny.
Yeah. Hey, Alex Moreno defeated Donald Cerrone. Shock, real shock.
Well, and this is why I'm confused, though.
440 of round one. Go ahead.
Well, this is why I'm confused, bro. Why is he the headliner? I'm still trying to figure. Well, not the headliner,
the co-main. Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to figure. But how, bro? He's been sacrificed so much. Like, what are we doing right now? Like, I don't really want to talk about the fight or what he should do because I think all that was clear even before this fight. We both said it. #WatchThePod. But what is going? Do people still care about Cerrone, bro? Because I don't even see his commercials that much no more. What is going on?
He has a following, and I'm going to equate him to Jerry Quarry. For a while, every black heavyweight champion that came up had to fight Jerry Quarry. Jerry Quarry didn't beat any of them, but they had to fight Jerry Quarry. Jerry Quarry had a horrible record, but they had to fight Jerry Quarry because Jerry Quarry had a following.
Yeah.
And the promoters loved Jerry Quarry because Jerry Quarry was big.
Boy, had a following.
Yeah, he was big, and he looked imposing. Yeah. He was already ugly when he got in there.
And he had a lot of followers.
And that was before social media. He had a lot of followers that bought products.
Yeah.
Cerrone can sell a lot of products.
Okay, all right.
Because he's that guy who, please forgive me, I'm not being insulting, but he's that guy. He's that guy that works the labor job.
He's the everyday blue collar guy.
And he comes home and he wears his cowboy hat on the weekends when he's sitting out in the yard. Yeah. And he may wear his cowboy hat on when he sits on his John Deere and cuts his grass. And he believes that he can fight. Well, when he looks and sees Donald Cerrone, he identifies with Donald Cerrone.
Yeah.
And Cerrone drinks beer out of his boot, and he does all the stuff that you did when you were a frat, when you were in a fraternity, or at least when you were young enough to go to bars and look like you were going to college. He still does that juvenile stuff. He's made it into a business. So, and he still looks tough, wrestling gators on the P3 commercials and da-da-da-da. He's marketable, dude. That's why they keep it. But eventually, he's not going to come back from some of these beatings to the head, bro.
Yeah, he got stretched, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, so at some point, since Dana White's not going to look out for his health, because they asked Dana White after his last beating, have we seen the end of Donald Cowboy Cerrone? Well, yeah, he's going to have to really sit down and think about it and da-da-da, and you put him right back in there.
Yeah, he did.
So
yeah, he did.
That should let you know Dana White got your best interest at heart. Main event, Marina Rodriguez defeated Michelle Waterson Shock?
Only because I just think Michelle Waterson's been around. She's the longer tenured veteran. She's, I didn't see this one coming, but I mean, it was a decision. It was a good fight, but yeah, I mean, she definitely won. So
Yeah. Michelle Waterson's like a Cowboy Cerrone. You see the name, you don't care if they just lost to somebody. So, so it's very, very identifiable. Michelle Waterson.
Waterson, yeah, and she has an entertaining style too. Throws a lot of kicks. She does it. So yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So that's the UFC in a nutshell. We'll get
Well,
into.
it was one fight. It was two fights you didn't mention. I know you saw them both. One fight I thought was particularly interesting to me.
Gregor Gillespie.
No, the Phil Halls against
I did see
Kyle
that
Dawkins fight.
Yeah, I did see that fight.
Man, you talk about somebody that made a transition. I remember last time we saw Phil Halls, he was in a dog fight and got a and listen, that decision could have gone either way. I think we're both very honest here on the show, #WatchThePod, as to what we saw. But we thought that Phil Halls is just such a tremendous athlete, right? I mean, look at him. He's like a bigger version of Demetrius Johnson. I mean, he's a little guy, but he's in a bigger weight class. He just chiseled all the pieces, and he's just athletic. Bro, he turns it up a notch. That first round, I was like, damn, here we go. Phil Hall's going to be looking a la like a Jeff Neal, right? Here he goes. He ain't who we thought he was. And then he comes out in the second round, and he just starts just running. Bro, I'm surprised Kyle survived that fight, bro.
Yeah.
It had got so bad in the third round, I was like, yo, they might have to think about it, because he just started putting it on him. He switched trainers, bro. He's down in Deerfield now, a lot in Fort Lauderdale, bro. Shouts out to Phil Halls, man.
You said it perfectly, because Dawkins came out in that first round. I was like, oh, crap,
that
Phil.
jab, piecing him up.
All of a sudden, it just went away. It went away. Phil turned it up. And it was a good fight. But the Michael...
That Gregor Gillespie fight, though, bro, that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, it was.
We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow if you can remember, but that was a hell of a fight. That was bro, I'm mad at Fredetta, but I got to give Gillespie credit too, bro. But yeah, he talk about from 0 to 60, or complete 180.
Yeah.
Bro, we saw everything in that fight. That was crazy.
The best part about that was the commentators trying to justify what happened. It makes sense.
There's no way to justify that. That was...
Listen, the fight before the Hawes fight, the Michael Trezano, Ludovic Klein. Did you see that one? Oh, man. It looked like Klein had him. And Trezano just kept pressuring. Trezano looked like a smaller Mark Gastineau. Without the mustache, though. Right. He just kept, or Scott Steiner with the mullet. He just kept coming. And I thought Klein got him, but they gave it. I mean, I couldn't argue with the decision, because it's just, what style were the judges looking for? That's what made that fight. But it was a good fight. It went the distance. They said unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, and then one butt nugget gave it 30-27. Even Cormier was like, what? But yeah, it could have gone either way. It was a good fight. You would have enjoyed it. One guy that just kept staying in your face with the jab, and the other guy who was throwing chairs and tables and kitchen sinks from the outside. It was great. And then once in a while trying to shoot in. But again, what I'm liking is guys that take you down and don't do anything are no longer getting all the same points. So I'm liking that. But yeah, it was a good fight. We ain't gonna hold them. We can cover the rest of it. We got them again tomorrow or Thursday, and tune in. I mean, you get to see what we're gonna talk about tomorrow. We're not gonna tell you. It's gonna be good though. Promise you.
Sounds about right.
So shout out to my wife, my daughter. Happy Mother's Day, not belated, because it should be every day. Happy Mother's Day to the Badgers mom. Because if y'all know what I got to put up with, that's a strong lady. Happy birthday again to my mom, who says marriage is overrated. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, who's an incredible wife and an incredible mom. And happy Mother's Day to all the aunties and the women who fill in the gap. Because if you don't fill in the gap, you don't know where that child's going to end up. So thank you for filling in, stepping in, standing in that gap. Even for the moms who are here who aren't doing anything, thank you for those ladies who are filling in the gap. I guess it's because I had the child so late. God gave me a child so late in life, bro. I truly appreciate the opportunity to be a parent. And it's amazing to me. Oh, great show, gentlemen. She called us gentlemen, bro. I better stop talking while we're ahead. All right, go ahead.
Well, you definitely set the bar high. Ain't much me say outside that is, yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the great women out there, man, in your role and wherever you are. As long as you're present, man, make sure you do that, man. Shout out to everybody there at Friday Nation for rocking with us today on this Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad place, talking about more stuff that you want to hear about. Also, spread the love out there. It's crazy. They got more mass shooters and all that stuff. But what's more entertaining is Deontay Wilder dropped a new video, and he's looking better than ever. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Y'all make sure y'all tap with us. We'll see y'all on Friday Nation. We out of here.